Hi everyone, we are Group 13 and our campaign's name is Rise Up Against Bullying and Anti-Bullying Advocacy. For our target behaviors, we decided that if students respond quickly and consistently to bullying behaviors, then they will send a message that is not acceptable and should be stopped. Our bullying preventative strategy consists of targeting certain behaviors that could ultimately help spread this message. One of the behaviors that we are targeting is to increase conversations about bullying in order to make the issue well known, as well as increase efficacy in victims and to increase the likelihood that someone will speak up against bullying in order to stand up and rise up against it.
Our target audience is high schoolers between the ages of 13 to 17 and between grades 9 through 12. 20% of U.S. students in grades 9 through 12 have experienced bullying in some way, according to StopBullying.gov. Our audience segmentation is focusing primarily on freshman students. The primary audience is high school victims of bullying. Victims can experience depression, anxiety, substance abuse, suicide, and other mental health issues. They also have a lot of fear, like taking the bus or using school bathrooms, and because of that, they can have low grades in their classes, they end up skipping classes, or they drop out of school. Our secondary audience is high school bullies. Bullies are more concerned with popularity, strength, power, and cognitive ability. The bullies do not necessarily have to be bigger or stronger than those they are bullying, and bullies usually have issues at home, they have difficulty following rules, they can be aggressive, or they also have friends who bully others. For McGuire's Inputs, the source is to get former high school students to help raise awareness and advocacy for bullying victims. The message is to get others to speak out and bring awareness of bullying on campus to advocate for the victims. The channel, we will be using social media like Snapchat and Instagram because that is the media that kids in those grades are using the most, and we will also be using print media like flyers around the school. The receiver is for high school students between the ages of 13 to 17, between the grades 9 through 12. Destination, we would like to increase likelihood of victims and witnesses on speaking out against bullying and help increase advocacy in the subject of bullying.
In addition to McGuire's Inputs, we use the elaboration likelihood model. We are utilizing both central and peripheral routes within our intervention. For the central route, our blog, website, and flyers target our primary audience in an attempt to initiate participation and an investment into the subject that directly influences them. For the peripheral route of the ELM model, our websites and flyers indirectly attach to our secondary audience, the bullies themselves, since they are the source of the problem that we are trying to remedy. Both the central and peripheral route use heat to create an emotional drive to empathize with the victims and spread advocacy. In turn, the bullies may be moved by what they have done and stop their behavior. We decided to opt out of the light route because of the inefficiency of logic and statistics to persuade our youth audience, since emotional persuasion is much more effective rather than logistics and statistics towards our youth audience.
For health behavior theory, we chose social cognitive theory, and that's because throughout multiple media, this theory states that observation affects behaviors, and that's because the bully's environment, their behavior and thoughts affect their action toward others, which lead them to bully other people. As the victim can gain self-efficacy if they are exposed to more social interaction, and that will help them to not be bullied.
We modeled our personas based on 2 high school students. Our first student is Clay. Clay is in junior year and has a very insecure personality, which has resulted in him being timid and not very social. He has overprotective parents and is seen as physically weak, which has made him a victim of bullying. Our next student is Timothy. Timothy is also a junior. He lacks attention and parental discipline at home, so he spends a lot of time playing sports. Deep down, he has insecurities, but on the surface, he acts as if he is superior to others. He often takes out his anger on others as well, which is why he is portrayed as a bully.
According to the Global Communication Project, Instagram is used daily by teens and young adults. Snapchat has also been reported as one of the top 3 common social media platforms. We will use it to create a filter with the hashtag SpeakUpAgainstBullying. We created a Snapchat filter to encourage victims of bullying to speak up and tell their stories in order to bring awareness to the situation. The filter includes lights pointing at the user so they feel important. It also includes multiple megaphones in order to symbolize that the users have a voice and their story matters. For our second channel, we will utilize print media in flyer form. We decided to abstain from using actual teenage pictures because of how sensitive our audience is towards the topic, as well as the program's purpose of remaining anonymous and refraining from illustrating a culprit. Instead, we used a powerful animal to symbolize the power of voice, as well as a vivid color to appeal to youth, all to encourage the audience to participate. This flyer serves as an activation message as well as advocacy, showing the resource they can visit.
Our first message will be, no one is alone. According to 2018 statistics from the CDC, 1 in 5 high school students report being bullied at school within the last year. Speak up and get support from others who know what it's like. The inclusion of a statistic makes this message more central root oriented. However, while this message does include a statistic, it still packs heat because the statistic is meant to evoke emotion by making it easier for our primary audience to envision how commonplace bullying currently is. It's also intended to help them see how many people are out there that could possibly understand and offer them support, making it a gain-framed message. If the victim speaks up, they will have more support to help them cope and possibly end the bullying situation. Our second message is, bullying is not power, it's violence, and it doesn't always have to be physical. This is based on CDC's definition of bullying, and CDC defines bullying as, quote, any unwanted aggressive behavior or behaviors by another youth or group of youths who are not siblings or current dating partners, involving an observed or perceived power imbalance. These behaviors are repeated multiple times or are highly likely to be repeated. Bullying may inflict harm or distress on the targeted youth, including physical, psychological, social, or educational harm. A young person can be a perpetrator, a victim, or both. End quote. On our website, we may consider adding links to YouTube on news reports covering extremely violent instances of bullying that occurred on school grounds, just so our secondary audience, the perpetrators of the bullying, get a visual of what bullying looks like at its worst. Because of the emotional context, this is a heat message that will hopefully attract people's attention through the peripheral route.
Our Impact Smart objective is to establish a consistent entry of 5 or more postings on our bullying awareness website per month for the consecutive year of 2019. We would measure this by quantifying the number of postings on the website in order to validate the impact of the website in regards to victims speaking out. Our Outcome Smart objective is to increase website postings to 10 or more per month by the end of 2021, increasing the outreach of victims subjected to bullying. We would measure this by tracking and quantifying website postings as well as view count to validate our reach.